How does your principal react to this? How does he receive this kind of ultimatum? The lawmakers have made up their mind that in 6 weeks, if the security situation does not change in the country, they will begin an impeachment move on him.
Thank you. Good evening. You said the lawmakers, but earlier you had said minority lawmakers. The truth is that in this kind of scenario, minority will always have its say, while the majority will have its way. You know the configuration of the National Assembly, the configuration of the Senate. Those who spoke today are the minority of minorities. They will have their say as is needful in a democracy, but do not go beyond that. I think it was just bravado. And very sadly, security is not something you subject to bravado. And you don't begin to issue flippant ultimatums in something that is a matter of life and death. They know in their hearts of hearts that they cannot achieve what they're saying. They're just wasting the country's time, wasting the time of the upper chamber of the National Assembly. They know they can't achieve.
Let's talk about the threats that, the Abuja city, for anyone who is living in Abuja will feel a bit uncomfortable with, for some of the reports on the news that are coming. The law school call to bar program was taken out of the venue into town, taken away from the law school. In fact, the Ministry of Education has said the FGC in Kwali should be shot because of security threats. There are gunshots that have been heard in town, the attack on the presidential guard. Has the president reacted officially to some of these threats that is knocking on his doorstep?
Well, you said gunshots have been heard in town. I'm not aware of that. There have been rumors all over the place, so I don't think you are depending on those rumors. What happened in Kubwa is in the public domain. Well, in Buhari is in public domain. Everybody knows that. But to say there were gunshots in town, I'm not privy to that unless you want to substantiate it. Now, the question is, are those minority lawmakers responding now because the thing is coming near to Abuja, their comfort zone? Is that why they were playing to the gallery as we saw them earlier? Well, they are Nigerians. They have a right to talk about what is happening in the country. Everyone is concerned. But if they were going into that bravado because it's coming nearer home to them, then it's not altruistic. They are just mindful of themselves, of their own well-being, of their own security. What matters now is the security of the entire country. And like the president has always said, he's doing his level best, and he will continue to do it. Our security agencies will also up the ante, and they will do better. Tomorrow, the president has summoned another security meeting with the head of the security agencies.
When we ask you and your colleagues in government about the security situation, you are quick to make reference to the situation in Abuja, where you made reference to the fact that there were attacks on the United Nations building, there were attacks on the police headquarters, but those are not happening. But recently we are seeing attacks very close to Abuja and its vicinity and the perimeters of the nation's capital. In fact, the terrorists threaten that they were going to kidnap a governor and also kidnap a president. These are some of the reports that we are hearing. And perhaps you do not think that the president, perhaps based on what some Nigerians are asking, directly need to address them to calm the tension or perhaps to allay the affairs on this kind of situation. You don't think it's needed?
It could also be that the terrorists knew that we are going to amplify their threats. And that was why they made those threats. They know that the media, print, electronic, will amplify what they are going to say. Like it is said, the oxygen that the terrorist needs is the media, is publicity. So you are giving them that oxygen. And that was why they made those threats, because they knew
of the comments of some of the lawmakers they made reference to is the statement made by the president. They alluded to the fact that the president said, look, the situation of the country, he cannot wait to, he pities the person who is coming after him about the situation of the country. And where they're asking the president to leave office, for those who think that it was justified, perhaps those who think that things are deteriorating, what do you tell them? Would you say that it is not, or would you say things are getting better? What would you be telling Nigerians tonight, Mr. Adeshina?
Well, we have plenty of anarchists in this country. I've had a very senior lawyer, somebody we respected so much, who was talking yesterday, asking the president to resign. The president was tired. He's an anarchist, even though he's a senior lawyer. Some of those lawmakers are anarchists. Instead of trying to mollify the situation in the country, instead of talking sensibly, instead of appealing to the positive sentiments of Nigerians, they are stoking the fire. They are anarchists. But the news we have for them is that many more Nigerians are positive than the anarchists we have in the system.
Would there be any political move by the president to react, to address the situation, politically speaking?
Okay, before I take that, let me add to the last response I made. Some of those who spoke also referred to NSAS, that what is going to happen is going to be worse than NSAS. Now the question is NSAS something anybody should do in Nigeria? NSAS was anarchy. NSAS was carnage. NSAS was cannibalism. NSAS was all that was wrong with the society. Now for anybody, whether lawyer or not, whether labor leader or not, to say what is coming is going to be worse than NSAS, that person is an anarchist. I repeat it, pure and simple, an anarchist. Now to your question, what will the president do? The National Assembly has a self-regulating mechanism. It is so composed that minorities cannot have their way. They cannot force things down the throats of the majority. Unfortunately, in that chamber or in the two chambers, you have sensible people who will say, no, yes, we have a challenge of security in the country. The president is doing his best. It has been addressed. Let us continue to encourage the security agencies to even do better. The president is not coming to wave a magic wand and solve this problem. Nobody has that magic wand. It is something that will be done methodically. It is something that will be done systematically. It is something that will be done by the affliction of time. It is not going to be by a magic wand. There's no magic wand to solve this kind of problem.
Perhaps to defend what your government has promised Nigerians. Security is perhaps what your government boasted, that you have a general who is going to fix security situation in the country. Is it a matter of this government hiding his head in shame, considering what you boasted of, your campaign promises, and when you say methodologically or methodically, the language in which you use, the question will be how many more time or how many more months do we need to see the methodological approach to how to solve this situation that some people have described as a failure?
Well, people who have described it as failure have rights to their opinion. It doesn't make them right. There are millions of Nigerians who still believe that the government has done and is doing its level best on this matter of security. Now, yes, the party promised that it will secure the country. And listen to the president anytime talk about his 3 priorities for Nigeria, right from first term to second term, and now to 10 months, 1 day to the end of the administration. He will say, 1, we will secure the country. 2, we will revive the economy. And 3, we will fight corruption. Those 3 still remain as his topmost priorities. Now, when you want to assess a government, you assess that government by what it has promised to do and how far it has gone in achieving those promises. In security, consider the first year of the administration in the first. Was it the same way as it inherited? No, there was improvement in the security situation in the country in the first year. In fact, the insurgency, which was the main problem in the country, was beaten. That up to the point that it was said that Boko Haram had been technically degraded. But you see that later there was a resurgence. Not only a resurgence, it became hydra-headed. Insurgency was the main problem in 2015. Later banditry joined. Later kidnapping joined. Later cold killings joined. It became hydra-headed. And so you don't begin to now say a government has failed for a problem that suddenly spiraled out of control. Security is a challenge. 10 months, one day to the end of the administration, anything can still happen, a lot can still happen. You don't begin to conclude that it has failed on security when its time is not up yet. For all you know, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, this problem may be over. It can get done. That is how we should be, positive-minded. And of course, there are successes in different areas: infrastructure, agriculture, social security, many. So you don't take just one issue and use it to conclude that the government has failed. It's never done. There's no government in any part of the world that has solved all the problems in the country. It has never happened, and it will not happen.